So this bill is basically, in its current form, is to expand the definition of one of those prohibited actors. And that's different than Representative Eccles' bill for last year and your bill from 2 years ago that we worked on a lot in civil law, as I can recall. And then secondly, you're giving the military department of Louisiana the authority to expropriate properties. And then third,
if it's within 50 miles.
Within 50 miles, and then go ahead, and you also have this deal with election piece, which seems to be a very significant part of your bill. But I think that kind of hits the high points of it. Correct? All right.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and hear from the witnesses. If you can first identify yourself, who you're with, and.
Well, I was going to introduce
sure.
Ms. Cleta Mitchell, and she is an expert in election. She's an expert election attorney who worked with our own Speaker Mike Johnson in Congress. And I don't know if any of you may have seen the SAVE Act, but she helped draft that language, and Speaker Johnson actually honored her in Congress on the floor because of her hard work for the SAVE Act. So she and Mr. Garland Favorito is a 40-plus year cybersecurity expert. So I really appreciate them coming down to help me with this bill and testify. And so, Ms. Mitchell, would you like to share?
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. It's my honor to be able to be with you today. My name is Cleta Mitchell. I'm an election law attorney and was one of President Trump's volunteer attorneys following the 2020 election, presidential election in Georgia. And since that time, I have I left my law firm, my partnership of 20 years in Washington, D.C., and founded the Election Integrity Network, which is a coalition of grassroots groups from across the country and citizens getting involved and learning about the election process. And one of the things that we have done in the Election Integrity Network was that we created working groups, national working groups, on a number of different topics, one of which is election technology and voting systems. I will tell you right now, I am not an expert in voting systems, but I know enough to listen and learn from those who are. Garland Favorito is one of those. He is a technology expert who also has become an election technology expert. And one of the things that we've learned over the last 4 years is that our election systems, and when I talk about the systems, I'm talking about the codes and everything from voter rolls to the early voting, the number of early voting, the states that allow ballots to come in after Election Day, so many different issues that are problems in our election system. I am here today to talk about Senate Bill 226. And the fact that Louisiana is poised to acquire new voting systems. I'm a former member of the state legislature in Oklahoma many years ago, and I know that it's a very daunting task when you're a legislator and you're called upon to watch agencies get ready to spend many hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money. And I would just urge you to do two things: to recognize that when a new voting system is acquired by the state of Louisiana, you must be mindful of the fact that the national landscape is changing. President Trump has made this a top priority to make certain that the voting systems that the states use for voting in federal elections, which is what the president has authority over, but to make certain that those are secure, that they're not capable of being manipulated or accessed by adversaries or even bad actors in our country. And so we have the executive order issued by the president on March 25th of this year, which sets a process in motion to basically replace the voting systems that states are using unless they are secure and cannot be accessed by foreign actors. We have principles that we've adopted at the Election Integrity Network based on thousands of volunteers working across all over the country, and principles that we'd like to see adopted to say that foreign manufacturing of our voting systems, well, we shouldn't have voting systems that are produced in foreign countries, that we shouldn't have, just as all of us have learned about all the things produced not in our country that are essential to our country. Who knew before 2020 that how many of our medicines are produced in China? Who knew how many of our rare minerals are not even available in the United States? So these are things we're all learning as a population, and President Trump is intent upon making certain that I believe that the first executive order just issued will be followed by subsequent executive orders. I don't know if you saw 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, in a cabinet meeting, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard announced that she has been tasked by the president to look into and investigate the voting systems and whether or not there have been compromises and intrusions that have not been publicly reported. And she did report at the cabinet meeting that they're finding some very disturbing information, and I expect that that will be publicly disclosed in coming months. The president's executive order from March has set in, as I said, has set in motion a process where by September of this year, the Election Assistance Commission is supposed to have a report and a process in place for actually decertifying election systems that are found not to be secure. This is a big undertaking. There obviously there's litigation, but there's no order of the court that has stopped that process. That is ongoing as we speak. So all I would say to you is that there are principles that we need to adopt. You have an opportunity in the state of Louisiana to make certain that when you buy, when you acquire, when I say you are senators of the state and have a responsibility to make certain that whatever systems are acquired for voting, that the public can be satisfied and that they are safe and secure, that they're not capable of being manipulated or accessed by bad actors, and that you have an opportunity to create a market. One of the problems we have in America is that the voting system vendors is a very tiny number of people. It's basically a cartel. And you have an opportunity to create a market for new, secure voting systems and that are not capable of being impacted by foreign adversaries. I expect that during the Trump administration, this is also part of Executive Order 14248, that the president has ordered that grants from the federal government to election offices across the country will be based on whether or not those election systems that are used for voting in that state are compliant with the future purpose of making certain that all of the election systems are secure, are not capable of being compromised by foreign adversaries or other bad actors. So I'm just here to say thank you for entertaining this bill. I think it's an important bill that Senator Hodges has brought forward. We are here to help and provide assistance to legislators. We do that across the country with legislatures, and we're happy to help because what we've learned is just as parents learned that they needed to go to school board meetings to find out what was going on in their schools and the books in the libraries. Citizens have to be involved in the process of how their elections are conducted. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer questions about any of this at the appropriate time, but just know that we're grateful that Senator Hodges has brought this bill. Grateful to you for hearing these remarks on behalf of promoting safe and secure election systems that the people of Louisiana can be confident are accurately reflecting the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. And the gentleman to your right?
Yes.
Mr. Favorito?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and